Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. Today, we're joining you from Max the Producer's home workout room. Okay, I understand the throwing stars and the nunchucks, Max, but the hot oil cauldron?
Or the rack?
Yeah.
That's not a torture device. That's for your back.
Okay.
I promise you.
He's weird. Is this
right.
really working out? Or?
No, this is just Max showing off.
Is this the arsenal or whatever that, or is just the, okay.
I mean, I do have dumbbells that people have called the toasters.
Okay. All right. I don't know. Weird. I just as soon get out of this place, man. It's got a bad vibe and menacing. Anyway, welcome to, don't look at me. I'm not even looking at Brandon. I already know he's looking at me with that look.
You know, I'm going to say something, Joe, and I mean this in all due respect.
Here we go.
Love and brotherhood and everything that we've got going on. We need to go ahead and, since the strike's over, we need to get writers.
This is my own, like I say, my own personal touch that I'll never, you'll have to pry these locations from my cold dead hands. But
Your terms are acceptable.
Your terms are acceptable.
Anyway,
I have a hammer.
Welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and everybody, Allan Gilbreth, and our pal Max over there, the lethal Max over there behind the glass.
Only when he hasn't been fed.
Anyway, hey, you guys, this is interesting. So the big game is coming up later in the show.
Whatever.
Yeah,
I couldn't care less
literally,
about.
It's
Do
like,
they owe me money? Really?
How many? We've got hours to go. We're almost there.
I couldn't care less about either team playing, but it is fun to watch the secondary content that comes out of that, which is usually the more noteworthy. It actually usually has more legs than the actual
the
game.
best commercials.
I will say this, though. I saw the greatest quote about the big game, or the greatest meme about it. It's like, it was like millions of people will gather around their TV to watch Taylor Swift's boyfriend play a game at the Usher concert.
You know,
Drop the mic.
I mean,
that's pretty good.
I'm just doing my doom scrolling on Facebook. I come across that. I was just like, "Yep, I'm done for the day." That is all.
I'm
That
good.
won the internet.
I'm good.
That's pretty good,
yeah,
man.
That's.
Well, it's creeping in, and look, I'm all about the purity of sports and everything, but let's face it, or the big game. Sorry,
yeah.
I almost let,
Legal, man.
I
know you got yelled at about that yesterday on Tool Talk.
It's been a commercial. No, I never let it slip. I almost did, but it's been a commercial enterprise ever since. I mean, it's $14 million for 1 minute of commercial time.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean,
let's not play games.
and you spend $20 million making the commercial.
It's
Yeah.
like calling San Diego Comic-Con a Comic-Con when there's like literally one comic vendor and then a bunch of Hollywood stuff.
Yeah. Very, very true. So, but you do get some interesting stuff that comes out of it.
We
And
really do.
There's been some great commercials. There's been some great performances. I'll never forget Prince performing in the rain there for the Bears lost, and I just said the word. Make sure you bleep it out there, Max. But anyway, but before we get to that, you guys, this was interesting, and you know, I am not a fan of. Well, I'm not a big fan of horror movies. I know this is your thing.
Yeah.
But this does look, horror done right can be very fascinating and very thought-provoking. And our buddy Dave Dastmalchian is starring in a movie called Late Night with the Devil. And I got to be honest, this trailer, even if I didn't know him and know what a cool dude he is, this is interesting.
It's
It's cool. And even Max was intrigued.
I mean, wow, Max.
No, I mean,
Max
he
is
doesn't get
intrigued by
interested
something
in-
that's not
yeah.
from the Far East. I'm shocked and surprised. He's a much more well-rounded individual than you like to give him, Joe. Because I mean, we saw it here in the workout room.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it's cute that it's got such a cute little starter set.
Well,
You can come visit my workout room sometime, and I'll show you the real toys.
Okay, let's talk about
Anyway.
our friend Dave Dastmalchian. So
let's
he's
let's
starring,
name drop some more.
and he's been a supporting actor. When he had an independent movie, what the heck was it? It was a real intense
Oh,
movie.
the one with him and Karen Gillan.
Yeah.
Oh, if I could remember the name of it off the top of my tongue,
Well, sorry, David.
it hurts to
Yeah.
watch, man. It like it'll tear into you.
But we did get to know him because he was our guest of honor at the 2018 Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, and we've been following his work. He's slowly but surely making a name for us. I mean, the guy's been in major movie, Oppenheimer, Dune, Ant-Man, and the He's been in a lot of big productions, but now he's he's starring in this movie, and this looks really interesting. It's if I understand the premise correctly, it is that they discovered some original archival footage from Halloween of 1977, and he's a late night talk show host. And back in the day, this was live TV.
Right.
Yes.
I don't even know if there was a delay.
No.
Right?
No, there wasn't.
It was like
Ask
walking a
Johnny
landmine.
Carson and
Yeah.
Dolly Parton. No, there wasn't.
But there's his character is known for throwing these very extravagant Halloween shows.
Okay.
And one fateful night, let's just say that they unleashed something, and it's not just in the studio, but it's unleashed into homes as well.
Well, that's what I was wondering. For one thing, whatever filter they used and the set decoration, it looks, and even the hairstyles and it looks like it's from the 70s.
He is definitely wearing the Johnny Carson collection.
It's got the hairstyle,
wonderful.
the 70s,
and let's face it, dear Mr. Dastmalchian has that look anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of got that Elvis knockoff, lanky build, and
he almost looks like he was born in the wrong era, because he looks like a guy that could have lived in the 1600s or something. You know what I mean?
He's kind of got that regal vampire look to him.
Right.
Yeah, he does.
And it's and he's into horror. He's told us, but now
he's all about his comic book and all of his other projects.
His Count Crowley.
Yep.
What's interesting though is it looks pretty. It looks like they're playing up a little, maybe tie into The Exorcist and do, because it's literally a demon. I guess this says it right in the trailer. Right. A demon is taking over the show.
Yeah,
and it's going out over the air.
And the thing is back in the time when that was happening, that was a big thing. It's like. The satanic panic kind of stuff, and the worries of demonic possession, and the church was very adamant against anything that was remotely occultish.
Right. Yeah. Even in music and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like,
backwards
if you play
masking
Stairway
and all
to
that.
Heaven backwards, it's going to say, and so it's very in tune with the zeitgeist of that time, which is very cool. Because, I mean, Allan, you and I were.
We were there.
I was a kid back then. You were like, 400 years old. But it seems like it's really captured that flavor. So we're gonna talk a little. We're gonna send a little more.
I
love
was born that year.
Yeah, but no, we're excited about this, and so we're gonna talk a little bit more about it when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Their Metachlorian count is off the charts. The Geek Patrol is back.
Those charts are skewed though.
I was gonna say, people always assume that means higher than, but no.
That's true. Off the charts may be the whole other end of the spectrum. So, anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, later in the show, we're going to talk about some of the secondary material that we'll find during the big game. All right, I said it. I didn't have to get it bleeped out. Which is always fun. And I mean, there's probably, a lot, especially considering Taylor Swift is tied in directly with it this year. So, but before the break, we were highly recommending, or at least we're highly intrigued by a new trailer that came out called Late Night with the Devil. And it's not just because it's with a friendly acquaintance of ours, Dave Dastmalchian, but Brandon, this looks new and fresh to me, which is something I appreciate.
I think what it is the fact that it's being promoted for a major audience, major studio audiences, but it's because it's like a TV show. It's like a live broadcast, but not really. It's something we don't see anymore. Everything now, it's like if you see a trailer for something, it's going to be this giant tentpole thing, and there's all the CGI and all this craziness going on. This is very low key.
It looks like an art house movie.
And again, like you said earlier in the show, the way that they filmed it, it really invokes the era that it takes place at. And I think people should do that more often in movies. If your movie takes place in the past, it should look like it was made in the past.
It definitely looks like it.
Kind of also makes me think a little bit of like how Oh Brother or Art Thou was a little bit filmed with a little bit of a different filter. It just had a little bit of a different vibe. It didn't have the grainy quality of film back in the day, but you could kind of tell that it was of that era.
It felt dirty.
Yeah.
It felt dirty, felt raw.
Yeah.
Also,
sepia,
I just really hope that the song coming back that we come back to is either Running with the Devil or Sympathy for the Devil.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Danny Bruns, that's your call. Hey, I am curious, though, because, for one thing, I'm wondering why this is being released now. Why isn't it being released around Halloween? Unless there's like scheduling conflicts.
So here's the great thing about this is that you release it now. Then by the time you get around to spooky season, you'll be able to stream it or you'll be able to own it.
Right.
And then people can watch it at their leisure in big groups together. And
or maybe you re-release it on a limited run.
You
or
could.
something. Yeah.
And I like to see my horror movies in theaters, but when it's time to watch something, around Halloween, I want my friends together. I want to be able to jab at each other when somebody jumps at something. I want to be able to have a communal experience with people I love and you respect, not Joe Schmo in the sitting behind me who's going to spill his drink all over me because he jumped at something.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the other thing is it's also a slow moment in the release schedule. So
True.
Smaller movies like this
so he's not competing with his
get a better chance at grabbing a few more eyeballs than they might have missed had they been up against something big and high dollar.
And this year we actually have a lot of things that are not gonna, a lot of things that are more in this vein, the smaller films, because there's not a whole lot of tentpole films coming out thanks to the strikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be fewer releases this year.
There's one Marvel film, Deadpool 3.
Yeah. I'm not
But
complaining,
we are getting Dune 2 here in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing, though, is I feel like if this movie, and it's not just, okay, let's just full disclosure. We met Dave Dastmalchian, and back in 2018, we even had him. If you go back to the archives, you can listen to a really great interview we did with him. He is really just a really nice guy. We really grew to appreciate what a down-to-earth guy is. So we always want the best for him, but I sincerely believe a movie like this, if marketed properly, or maybe if it came out before COVID, this could have been, a huge movie. I mean, it could have made a lot at the box office.
I think right now, with the way the theaters are, this could be a huge movie.
Yeah.
Because
it's
of the
different.
fact that
it's finally different.
It's not just your cookie cutter superhero movie or your cookie cutter, requel or re-envisioning of something we've seen 1,000 times. This is. I'm not going to say it's a completely original film because you can see where it borrows from all sorts of things, but this is something that is very much along the lines of, like the made for TV specials you would get, where they talked UFOs or what was the name of the haunted house, made for TV movie? It's like 2.5 hours. Ghost Watch.
Oh, I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah, it's like back in the days when you would get stuff like that, this feels like something in that vein.
And if it looks to me like it wouldn't have been super expensive to film because it's basically a TV studio, so it's all going to be a self-contained one-night event, so it's probably going to move along pretty well and it wouldn't break the budget. But they also mark this as a comedy, too. It's a horror and a comedy. Which is funny how much those overlap in.
All right, if you go back to American Werewolf in London, when it was a horror movie, it was a horror movie.
Yeah.
When it was a comedy, you were laughing. So, and there were crossover points that you uncomfortably laughed at some of the funny horror. So, yes, comedy and horror can be done very well together. You have a certain amount of gallows humor.
Right.
And you have a very gaunt, tall, lanky, off-kilter lead who I think is more than capable of pulling off talking to a demon, being possessed by one. From what I've seen of David's talent doing this, he's been everything from the crazy laughing guy from a Batman movie to MacGyver's arch nemesis.
Right.
And you really did believe that MacGyver was kind of going, I might die.
Yeah.
And you can plug David Dastmalchian into many roles. He could be the hero. He could be the villain. He can be the comedic relief. He's kind of
I'm
versatile.
curious to watch him carry this.
I would say he's probably one of the most versatile, actors who's, that you'll recognize 100 times over, but you may not know his name.
Right.
Good point. Well, it's hard to pronounce. I kept mispronouncing it, but he did tell me the way to say it. Dave Dastmalchian. Think of small chin.
Yeah, so, Dave has a small chin. David Dastmalchian.
I'm excited about this, and I don't even care about horror movies really, but this one, it just looked different. Like it just, it's got an intriguing thing. Stephen King said he couldn't take his eyes off it. So
awesome.
That's pretty cool. So, David, we're going to be following this with great interest. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about the big game.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. If you cut open a Sarlacc stomach, it would pretty much look like this radio show. The Geek Patrol is back.
That's disgusting.
It's not on. It is accurate.
I mean, it's accurate.
Yeah.
But,
think of the collectibles.
Yeah, well, it can also have a polishing and refining effect. That's
where I got some of my workout equipment from.
Some shiny stuff.
It's not all bad in there. Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbreth and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And later today is the big game. I hope, Max, you've already beeped out the one time I used the word. I guess they're really,
Don't worry, we're on a rock station. They can get away with it.
I don't want to get on a tangent, but I just don't understand why you can't just say the name. You can say the name World Series or Stanley Cup or whatever. But,
because
because
that name is...
It's like Voldemort.
Right,
you just can't say the name.
So here it is. When you go into the negotiations to get the big game, to be able to broadcast it for your year, you basically... buy the licensing to be the only person who can use that title. Any other sports broadcaster or television network or anything who says it gets fined.
I know. Okay, I just feel like brand recognition. You'd want everybody saying your name. I would.
Everybody knows what it is.
Okay, that's my point. It's like they're not hiding it. It's not like a big secret what the big game. Okay, anyway, but in the big game, for one thing, I don't know that anybody here is a Kansas City or San Francisco fan, so I couldn't care less who wins. I don't really care.
I do not have a favorite football team. I just root for whoever seems to be causing the most violence.
Okay. If the Bears don't make it, I'll generally root for the underdog.
So you like Klingon Little League,
right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, but in that vein, as we've said, I mean, these days the going rate for 1 minute of commercial time at the
30
is
seconds.
Up to 14. The last report I saw was $14 million. So
no, 30 seconds.
Is it 30?
It's not a full minute.
Okay, whatever. And as we know, it used to be the thing where a lot of companies would that was their stand. They made their new big dramatic commercial during that. Doritos is famous for that.
Yeah.
And now we have trailers for upcoming commercials, which is fun, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff. But some of it's actually pretty good. Some of it's pretty lame. But
there's one concerts. I think it's got Vince Vaughn and Tom Brady, and it's for one of the sports betting apps. And Vince Vaughn slowly makes Tom Brady move off the screen, and he goes, We're really excited to bring you our whatever app ad for the big game, blah blah blah, but it's Vince Vaughn on the camera by himself. He's managed to push Brady off.
Is that because Tom Brady doesn't have very much charisma on
I think
camera? Because he's a nice
really
guy,
doesn't.
but he does not. He can't act.
His job is to play to throw a football.
Right.
His job is not to promote things.
His Hertz
he's
commercials
not Peyton Manning.
They're cringeworthy, some of his rent-a-car commercials. But we always get movie trailers.
He's making more commercials and more money than we are.
Yeah. Are we going to get anything we haven't heard of that's going to just come out of the blue? Or
I don't think so.
Are we going to be surprised?
I don't think we're going to be surprised about anything. I mean, we know that we're getting the Sonic 3 trailer. We're going to get the Deadpool 3 trailer. There's a handful of other things. CBS is completely milking it. They're going to drop a trailer for the Knuckles TV series.
I don't know what that is.
All right. No. So Sonic has his it's not his foe, it's his rival, Knuckles the Echidna. He's going to be voiced by Idris Elba. He showed up in Sonic 2. He's getting his own TV series on Paramount Plus. Speaking of commercials, though, Paramount Plus has the greatest big game commercial there is, where Captain Picard, launches Hey Arnold up to the top of a mountain and doesn't make it all the way there. He slams again. But you get to see all these characters.
Wait, I thought that was fake. I thought that was something
No, that's
fan
that's
made.
a genuine.
That's a real commercial.
So,
okay.
The Paramount Plus commercials all have the Mount Paramount thing where you have all these people coming together, and they've had Beavis and Butthead, and they've got the guys from Reno 911. Or it's just it's insane. This insane mix of adult characters, live action characters, kiddie cartoons, and they all do these commercials together.
I'm really amazed by that one because it seems like Patrick Stewart is doing his best to make sure we do not take him serious. Even though the guy's a Shakespearean actor, he does everything goofy that you can do.
Have you ever seen the picture of him in the lobster suit?
I mean, yeah. He doesn't.
Watching him and Ian loose on stage.
No, because
is staggering.
There's not enough protection for those seats because they'll be soaked.
Yeah,
they are bladder bursting humorous.
What about how do you guys feel about the musical performances? The one I go to is the one where Prince was playing in the rain. It was raining during the big game, and they came in and they were talking to him, and they said, I don't know what we can do. It's an open stadium. It's pouring rain. He goes, what do you want to do? He goes, can you make it rain harder? And that's another reason people love Prince, because he was like, bring it on, man. Yeah. I'm going to do whatever. And
come on, you got to have respect for a guy who every room in his house was wired for sound so he could record at any given moment.
Right. But but that one stands out in my mind. Yeah. The Michael Jackson one was pretty cool, but then we had his sister's wardrobe malfunction in that one. But
no,
is there any
that was not a wardrobe.
That was
planned.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
planned. That was
100%
planned.
Yeah. But I used to really
they want.
I know U2 played one right after 9/11 that was really good. But do you guys have any that stand out? Because now I almost feel like there's too much production in it.
And that's
it's almost like just a montage.
It's a little bit of football sandwiched between amazing commercials and fair to middling musical performances. You get a good one every once in a while, but most of them it's like, all right, that was kind of useless.
I hate to say it. The Who one was pretty lame. Do
Well,
you remember when they performed? I thought
it's all right. It's an event that will never live up to its own hype.
I think it's funny some of the earlier ones where there's like the unknowns, like for example, Up With People.
Oh yeah,
right. They were not unknown, dude. That was a massive, massive movement. It's unknown to you
because I'm
because you're a fetus.
The group was well known, but you didn't know any of the people in the group.
I mean, nobody cared. That was the point.
All right,
thousands of members.
We're going to continue to talk about things we don't care about when you come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Count Olaf is a jerk. The Geek Patrol is back.
You can't argue with that.
Beyond that, yeah.
It's his job. Yeah, it's on his business card.
He really is hateful. I don't, but any moment he's saying something or if I'm, reading the book, I just want him done. He's not a good villain. Most villains, you want them to be appealing or you want to hear what they have to say. Count Olaf, buzz off, man. Anyway, welcome. Sorry, you triggered me, Max. I just don't like that guy. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here. I'm the angry Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and
Show
our pal
us
Max
on the ladder
over there
where he touched you, Joe.
I just don't like bad storytelling. He's just not an intriguing villain to me.
That's true.
He's so evil. Palpatine, I'll listen to that guy talk all day. Voldemort,
and then vote
same
for
thing.
We will take care of you.
Exactly. You need to make us care about your position. Hey, I was curious, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about the big game happening later today.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what that is, then I can't help you. But
isn't that the one with all the puppies?
Well, we've been talking about we've been talking about the second. We don't really care about the 49ers or the Chiefs, per se. I mean, nothing against them. We're not a fan of those teams. So we're talking about the secondary content that we're going to get out of it, including concerts, trailers, and everything. But Brandon, I did have a question because you brought something up. It's really expensive to advertise on the Super Bowl. So there's a new.
You said it again.
What? Oh, okay. Beep it out, Max. So 1 minute 39 seconds. Okay, but it's very expensive to advertise during the big game. So people have gotten. we do have this thing called YouTube, and it's like you could literally put a commercial up there, and within 5 minutes it could be posted on YouTube. Is that right?
Well, what's
so why pay the full amount?
Well,
right?
what's great about it is that you do your 30-second edit, your 28-second edit, so that you can put that last 2-second stinger at the end. Said, go to YouTube for the extended full trailer.
Right, which is basically a teaser. So you just paid for 30 seconds, but you really
bought a teaser to send people, which also creates engagement on your YouTube channel because people are going, well, I saw this between Travis Kelce getting sacked, so let's
That's a good point. What if you get 20 million views on your Doritos commercial? Well, you monetize that, you're making your money
exactly
back. Right. So it's a smart business.
Yeah. But I'm gonna give you a hot take right now.
Okay.
With all the festivities going on in Las Vegas right now, the greatest thing that has happened this week in Vegas had nothing to do with the that thing.
That thing.
Yeah.
I almost did
with the tidy bowl.
And that was the kickoff presser for WrestleMania 40. And that right there was more exciting than anything.
Were they piggybacking on top of the big game?
They always do their presser right shortly after the Royal Rumble, which was 2 weeks ago. And they just happened to be there at the same time. And of course, you had Dwayne Johnson, you had The Rock. I don't care anything about what's going on in the big game now because I got to see The Rock be a complete and utter jerk.
It's funny. I never even think of him anymore as a wrestler. I know that's how he started.
Yeah, well, the fact is he is now on the board at TKO. He's back involved in the business. His daughter is over at NXT. His cousin is the longest reigning modern day champion. It's a lot of fun, and I'll tell you, everybody's talking about the big game over there, and then all of a sudden we get this this press conference that kind of broke the internet, and. Yeah, now I the only thing I care about for Sunday is, the fact that the wings will be cooked right.
It's interesting. A lot of this, a lot of people watch, just there's so much other stuff going on besides that. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's really the only sporting event I can think of that's because usually the NBA championships or the World Series, it's not one game. It never comes down to just one game. It comes down to a series, so they spread it out a little more.
And here it is. All the other bowl games outside of the big game are fun to watch. This is basically if it has power in Hollywood or in political circles or whatever, we're going to blast it during the big game because nobody really cares about the big game itself. It's all about the performances and the trailers. And, you'll have your diehard Kansas City fans and you'll have your diehard San Francisco 49er fans, and they'll be out there and they'll be maddening. They'll be insane about it. But that's such a small reason for any of this pageantry.
It has become unto itself the spectacle.
Yes.
It is. It's kind of like our sci-fi conventions.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter who the guest is. It really doesn't matter where it is. The simple fact is it is the event.
You've got to make it a spectacle.
It has a place. And it has a certain market expectation. All right, the market expectation for this particular event is you get the commercials you want to talk about. I remember goats being referees. I remember Chips doing things that were physically impossible. I remember a singing alligator once upon a time.
It doesn't matter. The greatest commercials of all time have always been Budweiser commercials. Whether it be the Clydesdales, the soldier coming home from war, the the little puppy that we've watched grow up over the past 4 years.
Yep.
Yeah, but the best one was the Bud Bowl. I used to look forward to that because basically it was a little football game between Bud Light and Budweiser with football helmets on, and it was you didn't know who was going to win. And it was, it's Spuds McKenzie. But when they were funny, I think the last really funny commercial I saw, I can't remember if it was Geico. Geico and Doritos seemed to put effort into making them epic and funny.
The last commercial that they did that I laughed out loud was Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen doing the the looking back on their friendship through Lay's flavors.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, but
that's creative.
What's really funny is that Lay's, just bringing them up, on the February 2nd, Groundhog's Day, they did a series of commercials, and
with Bill Murray.
No, it's got the guy who played the insurance salesman
with the umbrella,
who steps into the puddle, or who he steps into the puddle when he's running from him.
Oh, right. The annoying guy, like he was trying to avoid.
He can't get out of the grocery store, so every time he goes to the register, he has a different flavored bag of Lay's. And it's like multiple commercials across like 3 or 4 hours worth of TV.
Okay. Well, I suppose we might follow up a little next week after we've seen it all, but we'll be watching and reporting dutifully. But
absolutely.
Anyway, as it, it's
I'm just going to look at the highlights on YouTube later.
Okay. But anyway, you guys, it's time to get out of here and go get ready for the big game. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Allan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I am Brandon Olmstead, making you jealous because Allan made us wings.